Hello everyone. So today we'll be doing chapter 8, which is challenges of democracy. So this is a concluding chapter which draws upon all that you have learned in the last 2 years. Uh, Last 2 years as in class 9 and 10, so as to address the fundamental questions of democratic politics. Whole this entire book, all the chapters in it were regarding different aspects of democracy. What are the challenges that democracy faces in our country and elsewhere? What can be done to reform democratic politics? How can our democracy, we're talking about reforms, how can our democracy become more democratic in its practice and outcomes? This chapter does not answer these questions. It only makes suggestions suggestions about the ways in which we can approach the questions of challenges and reforms. It invites you to think on your own and come up with your own uh, reading of your challenges, your recipe of how to overcome these, and your definition of democracy. So let's start thinking about democracy. Do you remember the first chapter in your political science textbook for class 9 or of class 9? There we tracked the expansion of democracy. We talked about the expansion, how democracy, different scopes of democracy can be taken into account all over the world in the last 100 years. How the democracy, we talked about the maps of how democracy increased over the years, uh, all over the world. Our reading thereafter has confined our initial impression democracy is a dominant form of government in the contemporary world. Okay, so we said the dominant form of democracy in the contemporary world. It does not face serious challenges. It does not face a serious challenger or rival. Yet, exploration of the various dimensions of democratic politics. When you talk about the different dimensions of democratic politics, has shown us something else as well. The promise of democracy is far from realized anywhere in the world. Democracy does not have a challenger, but that does not mean that it does not face any challenge. So this is very nicely that's written, that though we see that we have made a conclusion that democracy is the best form of government and so, but still it doesn't rule out the fact that democracy does not have challenges. It has many challenges, and we've studied a lot about them. Okay, at different points in a tour of democracy, we uh, have noted the serious challenges that democracy faces all over the world. A challenge is not just any problem. We usually call only those difficulties a challenge which are significant and which can be overcome. A challenge is difficult that carries within it an opportunity for within it an opportunity for progress. If there's no challenge, there's not going to be any progress. Just like there's this fact, like no pain no gain, right? A lot of people who believe in exercise, gym lovers, and would say that if you want a good body, you need to get in shape and everything. So there is no pain. If you're not in pain, you're not going to get anywhere. So pain is necessary so that you enjoy the taste of success. Once we overcome a challenge, we go up to a higher level than before. Different countries face different kinds of challenges. Can you recall the map of democratic governments in the year 2000 that we included in your textbook? At least one fourth of the globe is still under is still not under. So even in 2003, there were like one fourth of the globe which is not under democratic government. And the challenge for democracy in this part of the world is very stark. It's very clear. These countries face the foundational challenge of making the transition to democracy and instituting democratic. It's not only okay that you become a democratic nation, but then even what's important that these instituting a democratic government is very important. A lot of times we've seen, for example, the case of Nepal. We saw people's movement and how there was this second wave of people's movement where they got back their democracy. This involves bringing down the existing non government regime, keeping military away from controlling government, and establishing a sovereign and functional state. Most of the established democracies face the challenge of expansion. This involves applying the basic principle of democratic government across all religions, different regions, social groups, various institutions, ensuring greater power to local governments, extension of federal principle to all the units of federation, inclusion of women and minority groups, etc., falls under this challenge. This also means that less and less um, decisions should remain outside the arena of democratic control. Most countries, including India and other democracies, like the face of this, like United States, face this challenge. So you must be thinking that only poor or developing countries face challenges. No, even big countries like United States face such a challenge. The third challenge, when we talk about you know the third challenge of deepening of democracy, okay, is faced by every democracy in one form or the another. This involves strengthening of the institutions and practices of democracy. This should happen in such a way that people can realize their expectations of democracy. They need to realize their expectations. What do you expect from a democracy? But ordinary people have different expectations from democracy in different societies. Therefore, this challenge takes different meaning and path in different parts of the world. Okay, in general terms, it usually means something those institutions that help people's participation and control. This requires an attempt to bring down the control and influence of the rich and powerful people in making the government decisions. So, who's influencing who? Who are being the lobbyists and everything? We have noted or hinted at these challenges in the various examples and stories that we've studied in a textbook of class 9 and in the earlier chapters of this book. Let us go back to the or go back to all the major stops in our tour of democracy, refresh our memory, and note down the various challenges that democracy um, faced in these. Okay, so what is this? Time to say goodbye. All the best for your exams. See you in class 11. You are opting for political science, aren't you? So this is what they're talking that. Okay, now, okay, so this is a class, since this is a political science textbook for class 10, and after in class 11 you will choose your streams, whether you go for science in Falana. So this character is saying to this character, okay, then we'll see you in class 11 textbook, if and I hope that you choose political science, you know you choose humanities and not go for science subjects. Different contexts, different challenges. Each of these cartoons represents a challenge to democracy. Please describe what the challenges also place in each of the three categories mentioned in the first section. So we have to even place it in the first, like the three aspects. We saw the different kinds of challenges that the country face. So if we look at here, this person is saying that Mubarak re-elected. Then they are saying, shall we open these things? So that means this person celebrated his victory even without counting his votes. So that's a foundational challenge. If you are just right now, this country has only been transitioned, is only a democratic country in the name, saying that we have election, but the true basis of instituting a democratic government cannot be seen here. Then seeing the democracy, where how much power is given to the local people and everything. You can see a gun here, that's like challenging the foundational thing. Then we have liberal gentle equality, that also talks about the challenge of expansion, as in the who is including social divisions, the different social groups who are being included, whether the gender rights and different social groups and different regions are being included or not. Where we talk about campaign money, then it's actually the third challenge, which is the challenge of deepening of democracy. Are only people who have money and muscle power are elected to the important positions such as the parliament. Here some other country parliament is shown, or who is made as the leader or so. Okay, let us look at the case and context. Okay, uh, here we given the different countries and their status and everything, and here you have to, your description of the challenges for democracy in that situation. Example, for example, Chile, uh, General Pinochet's government defeated but military still in control of many institutions. Example, establishing a civilian control over all governmental institutions, holding the first multi party election, recalling all political leaders from exile. So you have to, what according to here, what according to the respective situations, according to you, whatever is the challenge, you have to tell, okay. Poland, after the first success of solidarity, the government imposed martial law and banned solidarity. So whoever was, in the case of, here they are talking about Poland, then you see we have talked so much about democracy and in different contexts, of how, what can be done and what cannot be done, and different, we've seen the different aspects of democracy as well. So here then we have Ghana, Myanmar. I'll tell you, okay, don't worry. Ghana, Myanmar International Organization, where we are talking about United Nations, Mexico, China, Pakistan, Iraq, South Africa. Mandela retires from the active politics. Pressure on his successor, Mbeki, is to withdraw some concessions given to uh, white minorities. Okay. So we have all the example, whether it is of, different social division and etc, to whom is to the power to be gone and everything. United States, Guantanamo, United Nations General Secretary calls this a violation of international law. US, United Nations refused to respond. Saudi Arabia, women not allowed to take part in public activities, no freedom of religion for minorities. Yugoslavia, ethnic tension between Serbs and Albanians on the rise in the province of Kosovo. We study that, and thus how the disintegration of Yugoslavia led into the formation of six independent republic countries: Sri Lanka, Belgium, United States civil rights, Northern Ireland, okay, Nepal, Bolivia. Morals, a supporter of water struggle, becomes prime minister. MNC threatens to leave the country. So they these so I think some of United Civil Black have won equal rights but are still poor. The peace talk between, so okay, so these are given different contexts and cases. Try to do this activity, otherwise I'll solve it for you. I mean, I'll have to write in detail, okay, and if I do it right now it's gonna take time, but I'll try to wait, okay. And let's see other different types of challenges here also. Now that you've noted down all these challenges, let us group these together into some broad categories. Okay, we can actually do it like here, okay. Broad into some broad categories. Given below are some spare sites of democratic politics. uh, you may place against each of these specific challenges that you noted for one or more countries or cartoons in the previous section. In addition to write one for India for each of these pairs. In case you find that some challenges do not fit in any of the categories below, you can create your new category. So you have to categorize them all what you've done. Mm, we've studied the different aspects, okay, whether it's about the constitutional design, the democratic rights, working of institutions like parliament, bureaucracy, administration, and so elections, federalism, decentralization, which is like sharing of power, local governance, accommodation of diversity, political organization, any other category that you wish to create. So okay, whatever you feel like here, okay, I too can summarize for you. I have no problem, but we'll have to. Actually, we have studied all these examples in detail, right? So I would prefer that you go back to these chapters and then see about all these specific cases, and then try to put them together into these broad frames. Okay, let us group these again. Into the nature of these challenges. Okay, so again you have two challenges into put categorize them into the three challenges that we studied: foundational challenge, challenge of expansion, challenge of deepening. So again you can categorize. So this is all you this is easy, you can do it. If you still prefer that I should do it, please let me comment down or email me. Now let us think about India. Think of all the challenges that democracy faces in the contemporary India. List all those that should be addressed. First of all, the listing should be in order of priority. That is, challenge you the challenge you find the most or pressing should be mentioned at number 1, and so on. Give an example of that challenge and your reason for assigning it the priority. Okay, so challenge to democracy, example, reasons for preference. Also try to do this activity. So here though in this chapter they have mostly this thing, yeah, fill in the fill these all text. If you find difficulty, please free to comment and everything. Okay, I'm just trying to make it easy for you and for me also, because I know sometimes a lot of these things are repetitive, and this chapter, the challenge for democracy is just a concluding chapter of all the important things we studied in the past 7 chapters. Okay, so don't think that you are missing out on anything. Thinking about political reforms. Each of these challenges is linked to the possibility of reforms. As mentioned above, we discuss challenges only because we think that they can be overcome. Generally, all the suggestions or proposals about overcoming various challenges to democracy are called democracy reform or political reform. That's what we call it as. We are not going to give here a list of excuse me desirable political reforms, for there cannot be any such list. If all the countries do not have the fall have the do not have the same challenge, it follows that everyone cannot follow the same recipe of political reforms. Your might be your in all the subjects. Okay, there might be some subject you might feel difficult, some subject you might feel as easy, but that might not be the similarly for your friend. Okay, your friend might like maths but find science as weak. You might find science as easy and maths as weak, so that can be opposite. So if nobody, if all the people have different difficulties, and so is the case for democracy, then there can be no one solution that fits all. We cannot prescribe a procedure for car repair without knowing which model of the car is, uh, what the defect is, what the tools are available, where the car has broken down, etc. Car, can we at least have a list of such reforms for our countries in today's context? Chalo, if we cannot talk about other countries, because they're very different context, and you won't even be able to find it relatable to it, because you've not lived there, you've not experienced the system there. We can develop some proposals for reforms at a national level, but real challenge of reforms may not lie at the national level. Some of the crucial questions need to be thought at the state or local level. Besides, such a list may become irrelevant after some time. So instead of that, let us think of some broad guidelines that can be kept in mind while devising ways and means for political reforms in India. It is very tempting to think of legal ways of reforming politics, to think of new laws to ban undesirable things, but this temptation needs to be resisted. No doubt law is an important role to play in political reforms. Carefully devised changes in law can help to discourage strong political parties and encourage good ones, but legal constitutional changes by themselves cannot overcome challenge to democracy. This is like the rule of cricket. A change in rule for LBW decision is leg before wicket. So what you I hope you know this rule. It's a cricket rule, and if you don't know, then please Google it. Otherwise, I can um, tell you. So a change in rule for leg before wicket decision helped to reduce negative batting tactics. Okay, but no one would ever think that the quality of cricket could be improved mainly through changes in the rules. This is to be done mainly by the players, coaches, and administrators. Similarly, democratic reforms can be uh, carried out only by the political activists, parties, movements, and politically conscious citizens. Okay, then we have any legal change must uh, carefully look at what results it will have on politics. Sometimes the result may be counterproductive also. For example, many states have banned people who have more than 2 children from contesting panchayat elections. This has resulted in a denial of democratic opportunities to many poor and women which was not intended. Generally, laws that seek to ban something are not very successful in politics. Laws that give political actors incentives to do good things have more chances of working. The best laws are those which empower people to carry out a democratic reform. So people should be empowered, to carry out sorry they should be empowered to carry out a democratic reform. The Right to Information Act is a good example of how that empowers the people to find out what is happening in the government, and act as a watchdogs of democracy. Such a law helps to control corruption and supplements the existing laws that banned corruption and imposed strict penalty. So there should be laws which can empower people to do good things, better things, and carry out even more democratic reforms. Democratic reforms are to be thought about principally throughout political practice. Therefore, the main focus of political reforms should be on ways to strengthen democratic practice. uh, how can we bring about that? As we discussed in the chapter on political parties, the most important concern should be to increase and improve the quality of political participation by the ordinary people like you, me. Any proposal for political reform should not think only about what is a good solution, but also about who will implement it and how. It is not very wish to think that the legislatures will pass legislations that go against the interest of political parties and MPs, but the measure that rely on democratic movement, citizens, organization, media are likely to so we are talking about democratic movements, like the mass movements which were there, like the water war, for example, of Bolivia, medias, and so. Let us keep these general guidelines in mind and look at some of the specific instances of challenges to democracy that require some measures of reforms. To democracy, some measures of. Let us try to come up with the concrete proposals of reform. So now we know that how can a political reform be made. We've seen the different aspects that can be taken into account while thinking about a political reform. Okay, so here are some of the challenges that require political reform. Discuss these challenges in detail to study the reform. Okay, I hope it's clear. Yeah, to study the reform uh, options offered here and give you a preferred solution with the reasons. With preferred solution with reason. Remember that none of the options offered here is right or wrong. You can opt for a mix, for a mix of more than one option, or come up with something that is not offered here. But you must give your solution in detail and offer reasons for your choice. Why you've chosen something or over the other, you should have an answer for that. So, doctors' absenteeism challenge. Uttar Pradesh government got a survey done and found out that most of the doctors posted in a rural primary health center are simply not there. They live in town, carry out private practice, and visit the village where they were posted only once or twice in the entire month. Villagers have to travel to towns and pay very high fee to private doctors even for a common ailment. Reforms proposal, you can see the doctors should make it the government should make it compulsory for the doctors to live in the villages where they're posted, otherwise the service should be terminated. District administration police should carry out surprise raids to check the attendance of the doctors. Village panchayat should be given the power to write the annual report of the doctors, which should be read out in the Gram Sabha meeting. Problems like this can be solved only if Uttar Pradesh is split into several smaller states, which can be administered more effectively. And Uttar Pradesh, there was this Uttar Pradesh Reorganization Act, which led to the creation of Uttarakhand in the year 2002. Exact date, I think it's 8th November 2000, when Uttarakhand was created. Political funding. Challenge, on an average, every candidate who contested the last Lok Sabha election owed a property of more than rupees 1 crore. There is a fear that only wealthy people or those with their support can afford to fight election. Most of the political parties are dependent on money given by the big business houses. The worry is that the role of money in politics will reduce whatever little voice the poor have in democracy. Reform proposal. The financial accounts of every political party should be made public. These accounts should be examined by the government auditors. So this is so never going to happen, because no member of the parliament is going to pass or give vote for such a law. There should be state funding of elections. Parties can be given some money by the government to meet the election expenditure. This is feasible, but again, it carries a lot of challenges. Citizens should be encouraged to give more donations to parties and to political workers. Such donations should be exempt from income tax. This is actually done. You can give some money or donation to the political party. So do you also have any other problem from your side? You can list out the challenge and give a proposal for that. Now let's talk about reforming politics. Rose managed to catch Madam Langdon outside the classroom. So this is the same madam, of the school where there was this discussion, you know something she had been planning to do for some time. Okay, she had been trying to catch Madam Langdon for a long time. Ma'am, I have really liked that Canadian cartoon. Rose needed something to open the conversation. Which one? Madam Langdon could not recall. Ma'am, the one which says 90% of the Canadians want that all the politicians should be locked in a trunk of a car and thrown in the Nigerian wall of Nigeria Falls. I was thinking of our politicians. We would need a bigger vehicle and a river as mighty as Brahmaputra. Lyngdon ma'am smiled at Rose. Like most Indians, she's also very much unhappy with the politicians of the country having been behaving and running the parties and governments. But she wanted Rose to appreciate the complexity of the problem. Do you think our problem will be solved if we get rid of our politicians? She asked. Yes, ma'am. Aren't these mean politicians responsible for all the problem in the country? I mean, corruption, defection, casteism, communal violence, criminality, everything. Lingdon ma'am said, that so we all need is to get rid of the current lot. Are you sure that those who replace will not do those things, Rose? Well, I have not thought about it, but maybe not. Maybe we'll get leaders of better character. Lingdon ma'am, I agree with you that the situation will change if people show more uh, care and alertness to reject corrupt and bad politicians and elect the right ones. And maybe all the politicians are not corrupt. How can you say that, ma'am? Interrupted Rose. Lingdon, I did not say that the politicians are not corrupt. Maybe when you think of politicians, you think of these big people whose photos appear in the newspaper. I think of political leaders that I have known. I don't think political leaders I have known are more um, corrupt than my own colleagues, government official, contractors, or other middle class professionals that I know. The corruption of this politician is more visible, and we get the impression that all politicians are covered. Something which is more visible, we try to make take out faults in them. Some of them are, and some of them while they are not. Rose did not give up, ma'am. What I meant was there should be strict laws to curb corruption and wrong practices like appeals to caste community linked on, ma'am. I'm not sure, Rose. For one thing, there is already a law banning any appeal to caste and religion in politics. So we've already seen the model code of conduct, how the party should behave before an election, and what should a party say or refrain from, doing. Politicians finds a way to bypass it. Every law whatever is made, there's always a loophole, and all these people who try to evade the laws and everything, they try to find out that loophole and do their work through that. Laws can have little impact unless the people resist attempts to mislead and divide people in the name of caste and religion. You cannot have democracy in a real sense uh, you know unless people and politicians overcome the barriers of caste and religion. So of course, caste, religion, social divisions, and other social divisions are barriers, and that's what you have to actually overcome these and come out of it as a stronger nation. Refining democracy, we began the tour of democracy last year with minimal definition of democracy. Do you remember that? This is what chapter 2 of your textbook said last. Democracy is a form of government in which the rulers are elected by the uh, people of a territory. When we looked at many cases and expanded the definition slightly to add more qualifications, the rulers elected by the people must take all the major decisions. Decisions must offer choice and fair opportunity to the people to change their current values. This choice and opportunity should be available to all the people on equal basis, and the exercise of this choice must lead to government limited by basic rules of the constitution and citizens' rights. So this is very important. Okay, you may have felt disappointed that the definition did not refer to any high ideals that we associated with democracy. But in operational terms, we deliberately started with a minimalist but clear definition of democracy. It allowed us to make a clear distinction between democratic and non-democratic regimes. You may have noticed that in the course of our discussion of various aspects of democratic government and politics, we've gone beyond that definition. We discussed democratic rights at length and noted that these rights are not limited to the right, to the right to vote and stand in election and form political organization. We discuss some social and economic rights that the democracy should offer to its citizens. We have taken power sharing as a spirit of democracy and discussed how power sharing between governments and different social groups is necessary in a democracy. Um, we saw how democracy cannot be the brute law rule of a majority, and how our respect for minority voices voices is necessary for democracy. Our discussion of democracy has gone beyond the government and its activity. We've discussed how eliminating discrimination based on caste, gender, religion is more important in a democracy. We've also discussed the how economic growth, every country we've talked of when we were discussing whether economic growth is more in people countries which follow democracy. We also talked about the factors that actually affect the economic growth, GDP, and everything. We talked about the market forces. Finally, we've had some discussion about outcomes that one can expect from a democracy. In doing so, we have not given against the definition of democracy offered last year. We began then with a definition of what is the minimum a country must have to hold a democracy. In that course of our discussion, we moved to a set of desirable conditions that a democracy should have. So we talked some of the desirable conditions, that a democracy, a country who claims to be democracy should have. We moved on from a definition of democracy to a description of dem of a we moved that what does it mean to have a good democratic nation. How can we define good democracy? What are its features? What are the features of a democracy must be called a good democracy? And what uh, m- must not take place in a democracy if it is a good democracy? You decide that reading between the lines. Okay, so whatever they are saying, that this is a cartoon. Okay, so I think yeah, let's this is the last base. Here is your space for writing your own definition of good democracy. We've seen so many different aspects of democracy. Come up with your own definition of democracy. Not more than 50 words. Features, use only as many as you want. Try to compress it in few points as possible. Try to compress it in 7 points. How did you like this exercise? Was it enjoyable, very demanding, a little frustrating, and a little you a little resentful that the textbook did not help you in this crucial task? Are you worried that you may not be correct? Here then is your last lesson in lesson in thinking about democracy. There is no fixed definition of good democracy. Good democracy, so there is no definition of what is a good democracy. Every country has different circumstances, on we think it is and what we wish to make it. Thus this may sound strange, yet it is the democratic for someone to dictate us what a democracy. So they're saying this very beautiful line. Even if we say that what is good and bad democracy, is that really a democracy then? So give your definition of democracy and what you like about it and not in India. So we've completed with this book, and take care of yourself. All the best. Stay healthy, be positive, and live life along with studies. Take care.